welcome to my channel Lang and Lit. The content of today's video is from class 12 CBSE syllabus and the chapter's name is The Enemy. This chapter, The Enemy, is very important from the point of view of your exams because every now and then a long question appears from this chapter. Before I start with the main content, subscribe to this channel for immensely improving upon your English skills, whether it is speaking skills, whether it is etiquettes or the soft skills. And even if you are preparing for your competitive exams, so whole of your English language section will be dealt over here. So don't miss the opportunity, just grab it, subscribe to this channel. In today's video, I'll be offering you with whole of the explanation of this chapter along with the main characters and the theme of this chapter. So I'll start with the author, then I'll explain the happenings of the chapter, and then I'll come to the main characters and the theme of the chapter. The main character and themes, I'll be giving you proper written slides so that you can have a screenshot of it and have a written material with you for your answers. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to press that like button. Let's start with our today's video. This chapter, The Enemy, is written by Pearl S. Buck. She was born in 1892 and she lived till 1973. Pearl S. Buck was an American writer and novelist, but she had the missionary parents. Her parents were working as, or you can say serving as, a missionary in China. So she also had a Chinese name. Her Chinese name was Sai Zhenzu, and she mostly spent her childhood in China. Pearl S. Buck was a highly acclaimed writer. She won the Pulitzer Prize, the famous one, in 1932, and she even won the Nobel Prize in 1938. Now this story, The Enemy, is about a doctor, Dr. Hoki Sadao. He is our main lead, the central character, or you can say the protagonist of this story. He was a very accomplished doctor as well as a scientist. To know him better, we need to visit his childhood. Dr. Sadao would accompany his father to the islands of the South Seas often. His father would point towards the island and would say that those were the stepping stones towards the future of Japan. Dr. Sadao would question him childishly that where would they reach from those islands? His father would reply that it was not known, as it depended on the future. The future had no limits. It depended on mankind how it shaped its future. The very important thing to notice over here is that Dr. Hoki Sadao from his childhood was very close to his father, but he did not have a very playful attitude with his father. Neither his father joked with him. His father used to converse with him in a mature manner and used to share with him the visionary thoughts he had. It is also something very important to take a note of that Hoki Sadao's father was a single parent and he had faced a lot of hardships in bringing up his son. But to all his mettle, to all his hard work, Dr. Hoki Sadao came out as a brilliant human being and as a perfect citizen. Dr. Sadao's house was situated on the coast of Japan. He had been living there since his childhood. The house had a low height and was made up of stone. It was set upon the rocky beach, which had a boundary line made up with the pine trees that were tilted towards one side. When Dr. Sadao was a child, he would climb up the pine trees. On his visits to the South Seas, he would see men do so in order to get coconuts from the trees. Dr. Hoki Sadao shared a very beautiful relationship with his father, and he retained, even after his father's death, Dr. Hoki Sadao retained all the teachings which were given by his father to him. He knew that to his father, his education was of utmost importance, and that is why, being a staunch and traditional Japanese, his father let him go to America and study over there for his higher further medical studies. But at the same time, Dr. Hoki Sadao was also a very obedient and a disciplined son. He knew that how important are the Japanese traditions to his father. So, being in America, yet he never let his traditions, his values go away from him. Whatever was taught by his father remained with him. When he was in America to study the medicine and sciences, he was of 20 years of age. And after the completion of his studies, Dr. Hoki Sadao again returned to Japan at the age of 30 years. And before his father's death, the father had seen his son grow into a famous and renowned doctor as well as scientist. Our story starts with Hoki Sadao standing in his balcony, and he was living by the coast in Japan. So in the daytime the temperatures were high, but the waves of water, or you can say the sea water, was cold by the night time. So it was almost foggy in the evening near the house of Dr. Hoki Sadao. He was standing in the balcony, and then he was lost in his thoughts about his father, and he started thinking what his father used to exclaim while they were standing or walking on the beach. So he had a lot of memories of his father, but then he realized that it is too late. So he thought that he must go back inside the house to meet his wife. His wife's name is Hana.
Dr. Sadao thought that he would go back into the house to his wife, and her name was Hana, who was waiting for him along with their 2 children. Before he could go inside, the door opened and his wife looked out for him. She was wearing a dark blue colored gown over her dress. She lovingly crossed her arms with his and smiled at him, remained silent, and stood by him in the balcony.
And with this episode, the author gives us a glimpse into Dr. Hoki Sadao's and Hana's life, and that was the first time they met. Both of these people met each other for the first time in America. Both were the students there. From the very first time they met each other, Dr. Hoki Sadao was attracted to Hana, and he knew that she was Japanese. But still, the teachings of his father were still in his mind, and he knew that he is only going to be allowed to marry a Japanese girl. So Dr. Hoki Sadao suppressed his feelings and let himself know and confirm that yes, Hana was a traditional Japanese, and then only he let himself fall in love with Hana. But then too, he did not straight away committed himself to marry Hana unless and until his father has affirmed to their relationship. And finally, this is the thing which happened, that the father agreed to the marriage because Hana was totally traditional Japanese girl, and he was very happy for his son to get married to such a girl. Hana and Dr. Sadao had met at a professor's house in America, where both of them never wanted to go because the American professor and his wife were too talkative, but yet because they were alone over there and it was the time to mingle with other people who have come from foreign countries, so they took a chance to go over there, and that was the very moment when both of them met each other and fell in love. Of this incident, Hoki Sadao always used to make Hana remember that it was just a coincidence that they had met. If he had not accepted the proposal or accepted the invitation of the professor, they would have not met and they would not have married. Now we come to our main plot of the story. That is the meeting of the enemy, coming out of the title character of the story. Both these husband and wife, Hana and Dr. Hoki Sadao, were there sharing glances with each other, talking with each other in their balcony. And then they suddenly saw that there is an apparition, or there is a shadow of something or somebody which is coming out from the sea. And then suddenly what happened, that shadow, it deepened down. Okay, it means that they thought it must be a fisherman who has been hurt by the rocky shore, and that is why he's hurt and are not able to walk properly. So they thought, as good citizens and as helpful human beings, that they must go and see what is wrong with this person or what is wrong with whoever it is, and help him out if he is hurt because of that shore. Now as Hana and Dr. Hoki Sadao neared the seashore, what they saw was that this apparition, this shadow, was staggering, was crawling, and even falling again and again. When they went closer, they saw that there was a young man who was lying flat on the ground. His face was towards the ground, so they could not see his face. As a doctor, Dr. Hoki Sadao tried to take his pulse. He knew that he's still alive. That man who's lying over there on the seashore was still alive, but he has been badly hurt and brutally hurt, and that is why he's very serious in his condition. Now the doctor turned this man who was lying over there on the shore upside, and when he saw, he was wearing a cap and he looked quite young, almost 20 years of age or such. and he was quite young, but his hair was all golden in color. And as we know that the Japanese people have black color hair, so by the features of his face, the color of his skin, and even the color of his hair revealed that this man was not a Japanese. In fact, the cap he was wearing was of the American Navy. So simply, Dr. Sadao and his wife knew that this man is an American. We know the history of America and Japan, that at one point of time they were fierce enemies. They did not support each other at all because of the things which had happened in the World War. These two nations had grown staunch enemies of each other. So if these people are going to take care of this person who's lying over there on the shore in a very serious condition, they will be, or they can be punished as traitors to their country. So it was a very serious thing, and both of them were in great dilemma. They did not know what to do with this condition, what to do with this man who was lying and was crying for his life. He was lying there over unconscious, and if these people, both husband and wife, they are going to leave him to his own condition, then it might be, and it will be, definitely it is going to happen, that this man will die on the shore itself. And Dr. Sadao is a doctor. He can't leave a person who at this point of time is just a person, a patient for him. So they were in clear dilemma that if they are going to pick this man up, something bad will happen to them, because this man was not only a civilian of America, but he was a person from the Navy. So it might be that he is a prisoner of war who has managed to escape from the prison of the Japanese general and have come over here. At one point of time, they were thinking that they must put this man back into the sea and let him face whatever is destined for him, because they did not wanted to help him and just create chaos for themselves, just create a mess for themselves, create a dangerous situation for themselves and even for their children. So they thought they must put him back. But as they were trying to pull him and uphold him, they were conscience stricken, and they thought that they can't do that. Both husband and wife, they agreed that okay, we'll take him to the home, treat him, and then hand him over to the police. Finally, both Hannah and Dr. Sadao carried this man to their home. In their home, the first thing they needed to do was to wash this man. So Hannah asked Yumi. Yumi was a servant, a maid servant, who was serving to Hannah for many years, and she was the nanny of her children. So she thought that she is going to direct her that she needs to wash this man before Dr. Sadao can operate on him. So when she requested Yumi to wash him, she straight away said no to it. Why? Because she saw that this man was an American, and she thought that it is like a traitor to their country. She in fact reacted in a very ruthless manner, and she said that you must throw this man back from wherever he has come, because bringing this man is a dangerous thing, and I am not going to touch an American. Now here Hannah was very much disheartened and disgusted by the behavior of Yumi, but Hannah was a very dignified lady. She did not respond or react to Yumi saying that you are a servant and whatever I order you, you must abide by that, or you must do that. She never got infuriated. She was not angry with her servant. In fact, she said, okay, then you can go to the children. And then she decided that she is going to wash that man herself. Now when the washing was over, Dr. Sadao came inside the room where this patient was laid down, and it was the room of Dr. Hoki Sadao's father, the staunch Japanese man. In his room, this prisoner of war was lying down, washed by Hannah, and now Dr. Sadao was ready to operate on him. Dr. Sadao had bought his medical kit over there, and one special quality of Dr. Sadao is known through this episode, that when he was operating on him, he was talking to him like he used to talk to other patients. So whenever a patient was in front of Dr. Hoki Sadao, he was just a doctor at that time, without thinking which nationality his patient belongs, which race his patient belongs, where he comes from. That doesn't matter to him. The only thing that matters is that he must recover from all the illness which he is facing or suffering in his body. The operation was done for a bullet which had stuck in the body of this man, and due to which he was very badly bleeding. and this bullet was taken out by Dr. Hoki Sadao, and finally this man was fine now, and day by day they kept him for 3 days, and he come to his consciousness the next day, and he wanted to move around, but Dr. Hoki Sadao ordered him to sit down and let his body rest and recover. He ordered him like a normal doctor. He never thought that he's an enemy, he's an American or somebody like that whom he would not give his suggestions to. Like a normal patient, he treated him. But they all were afraid of one thing, that if somebody or if the people who are staying in their home, they were having 3 servants along with them staying at the same home. These servants did not like the idea of having the prisoner of war, that is an American soldier, in their home. They were all condemning this act of Dr. Hoki Sadao and his wife Hannah to give refuge to a prisoner of war in their home. They were talking behind their master's back, and they were thinking that they have gone to America to study, and that is the reason they are supporting the American prisoner of war, which is illegal and which is a dreadful crime. These servants finally decided on one day that they are going to leave this house, because if something bad will happen, it is going to come on them, because the information was with them and they did not give that information to the police. So they thought that it is good for them that they leave Dr. Sadao's house. So they told their masters that we are going to leave. They all were giving their dues, they were given their money, and they were, in a dignified manner, they were allowed to go. The name of the prisoner of war is Tom, and now it has been 7 days. He's still recovering, but he has gained much of his health because of the rest and the medications which are given by the doctor, and because of Hannah's care. We see that the servants have left the house, and Hannah is the only one who's working in the kitchen, who's taking care of the children. So one day, it was actually the 7th day itself, a Monday, while this lady Hannah was working in the kitchen, she saw a man, a policeman, that he has entered the main gate, and from the garden he's coming towards the home. He's coming towards Dr. Sadao. She came running from there thinking that she is going to make an alarm for Dr. Sadao, that she is going to warn him that this policeman has come. But as she reached, so did the policeman also reached Dr. Sadao, and he informed that the general wants you. The general is asking for you to come to him because the general is not feeling well. A point to note over here is that Dr. Sadao is the doctor who is appointed for taking care of the general.
Now let's see what happens when Dr. Sadao meets the general. The general is terribly ill and is worried about his health. Dr. Sadao attends him as a good doctor and finds this to be appropriate time to confess about the prisoner of war, who is back at his home. So Dr. Sadao narrates the whole story to the general, and the general, after listening and thinking for some time, assures Dr. Sadao that he will do something in this matter and he will take care of it. He says that he will send assassins. Assassins are professional murderers to Sadao's house at night, and these assassins will kill the American prisoner of war and even move away the body of the American prisoner of war from Dr. Sadao's house. So nobody will know that ever did the American prisoner of war has come to Dr. Sadao's house. So his family and his reputation and even Dr. Sadao will be at safety, and nobody will know that Dr. Sadao has done or consider him to be a person who has gone against his country, or consider his act as a treason or disloyalty to the country of Japan.
Finally, when the assassins do not come to Dr. Sadao's house, Dr. Sadao thinks that this man, this prisoner of war, the Tom they know, is now a whole man. Now he can manage on himself. So he packed some of the eatables and some of the things for his use. He gave him a small boat and he said that you go and sit in that boat and be there. He also gave him a torch so that he can signal back Dr. Sadao if nobody comes, if some friendly ship to the Americans could save him. So he let him sail into the sea with the things which he needed for a day or two, and that was Dr. Sadao's saying goodbye to Tom. But he did not see the signal. It means that he has finally got a ship and his life is saved.
Now I will discuss with you the value points of Hannah's character. First of all, she was a good and understanding wife to her husband. She was loving, caring, and very devoted. She was very dutiful even towards her husband, her household chores, and even to her children. Then she had a pragmatic approach. She was very practical in her approach. If somebody else is not doing anything for her, like her servants refused her, so she was dignified enough to actually work for herself. So we can say she had a very practical approach. Then she had maintained dignity. She never stooped low for finding help from the servants. She maintained her dignity. She was very decent and dignified with everyone she met. We see that Hannah is too sentimental even, because she's the one who takes care of the soldier or the prisoner of war who was there at her home. She made sure that he's eating properly. She used to make him meals, and then she even washed him. So it is something that she knew the pain which this young man was undergoing, and she had that humanitarian qualities in her. Because of another man's pain she could feel. So we can call Hannah as a person who's very sentimental. Then we also see that being a woman, she was very strong, but at the same time, sometimes she was anxious of her husband's well-being. She wanted to maintain the reputation of her husband in every manner. So she was very anxious, and his reputation actually mattered a lot to Hannah. Now let's discuss the character of Dr. Sadao. We can call him a kind, considerate Japanese doctor. Dr. Sadao Huki loved his profession more than anything else. He was very hardworking and intelligent. He is a perfect role model for all the doctors of the world who really uphold the values of his profession. He sent him to America. His father sent him to America at the age of 22 to learn medicine. He lived there with great self discipline. So he was a self disciplined man. He waited until his father's approval to get married to Hannah. He loved Hannah, but still he never promised her marriage or anything, any commitment before his father approving his relationship with Hannah. Then we can say he was brave and very responsible. He faces opposition from his servants, but he knows his responsibilities as a doctor. Another important character of this chapter is the general. The general was suffering from an attack, and his medical condition was very severe. He needed an operation anytime. So he had faith in Dr. Sadao. He depended, or you can say he was totally relying on Dr. Sadao for his medication, for his operations, for his taking care of him. Then he promised to help Dr. Sadao and offered him assassins, that he is going to send assassins to take care of the prisoner of war. But we can see that he forgot his promise, and that results in concluding that he was lacking dutifulness. He was not very dutiful, because it was a matter of gravity. It was a very serious matter that a American prisoner of war is at somebody's place who's so close to him, and he promised him that he's going to take arrangements of it, but he forgot about it. So it is his physical and mental weakness due to which he was not able to fulfill his duties. So we can say that he is a sort of a person who is irresponsible, who's not very serious. So we can interpret the character of the general in certain negative terms even. The next very important aspect of this chapter is the theme, and it goes like this: the enemy gives the message that humanism transcends all men, made prejudices and barriers. Dr. Sadao upholds the ethics of the medical profession in treating an enemy. The story is a great lesson of peace, love, sympathy, and fellow feeling and humanism. Then it says the next point: decision and duty, racialism and nationalism, and humanity above all. Decision and duty is also like Dr. Sadao had taken a decision and he abided by his duty. He was following and adhering to the duty. Being a doctor, he treated the enemy. He did not made the boundaries or the enmity, the animosity between him and the American prisoner of war to breed high. Instead, he decided that he is going to treat him. Then racialism and nationalism are shunned in this chapter. Both these people, the doctor and the patient or the prisoner of war, were of different races, were of different nationalities, yet they both responded to each other in a positive manner. Therefore, we can conclude humanity is above every barrier, every prejudice which is man.